Restoring Men in History. The attack is not on Elon Musk. It's on you, the American people. The attack is not on Elon Musk. It's on transparency. The attack is not on Elon Musk. It's on what? The truth. Because there's many people that don't want you, the American people, whom they work for, the bureaucrats, the politicians, to know the truth, to see it. Because they know if you see where all this money is gone and what they've printed money for, doing what? Making the price of your goods go up, your groceries, you suffering at the kitchen table. And who suffers? You, the American people, from their massive spending. Look, you can't spend this much and not have it affect the price of your groceries. You can't have this many regulations. And what is Elon Musk doing? He's trying to save you money so that you have more at your kitchen table. He's working for you, sleeping on a cot or the floor, up there working all through the night and all through the hours for you, and they're attacking him. They don't want it reviewed, and they don't want it cut. Which begs the question, what are they hiding? But Elon Musk has taken a big shining light, and he's exposed them, and he's continuing to expose them. And let's take a look at a couple of things from the Federalist. We're not going to go into all this waste because it's too much to cover. Senator Kennedy did some information on it. It's all over X. We'll put a little bit in from this Federalist piece. Follow the money. Now, that's always a key to life, right? We need to be able to follow the money line by line, and that is what Elon Musk has been taxed to do. So let's take a look at this. Follow the money. Feds gave millions to left-wing media outlets, including Politico, the New York Times, February 6, 2025, Logan Washburn, thefederalist.com. Quote, Politico maneuvered to have the Hunter laptop story banned and everyone discussing it censored. And now we found out the regime was funneling tens of millions of dollars of our money, your money, to Politico. That's horrific. It's really bad. They're trying to control the narrative, control what you see and hear as Americans, and they work for you. Federal agencies have been funneling millions to leftist media outlets, including the AP, Politico, Reuters, New York Times, Washington Post, and CNN. These legacy corporations have fashioned themselves as gatekeepers of information, and they have spewed lie after lie in an attempt to control the political narrative. We talk about the narrative all the time. They want to control the narrative. They want to see what you get to say and what you get to see and read. While many media outlets take the federal funding as they do in the form of subscription services to federal agencies, their financial ties to the government shows how much they really stand to gain from operating as what? A propaganda arm. These revelations, and here we get to USAID, stem from research into USAID. And by the way, I read the story on X, and Elon Musk confirmed it, of how this came about. Apparently, Trump did the executive action, and then USAID tried to go around it. And Elon Musk said, let's go after DOGE or something to that extent. I'm paraphrasing. And then they found all this, just one agency. Think about how significant this is. This is just one agency of your money being taken and misused. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt on Wednesday said that government subsidies of Politico on the taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban wrote on X on Wednesday that USAID had financed ultra-progressive Politico in Brussels and basically entire left-wing media in Hungary. Remember the election interference story? Russia did election interference. They're doing election interference with your money. And here, New York Times, AP, those are American news sources where you get your news sources where they're interfering in elections. Hunter Biden. Orban went on to say, I think the world owes a debt of gratitude to President Donald Trump for uncovering and putting an end to this dark conspiracy. 3 cheers for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They are American heroes, those two guys, and they're working hard for you. How many times has a president promised to do something and do it? They're doing it. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing exactly what they promised to do, unlike presidents who promised not to go to war and went into war. The AP's federal funding in 2008 was just above $200,000, but it began an upward trend in 2014, who was in office then, and reached a climate of $6.4 million in 2020. Since then, federal funding to the AP has gone down, but the outlet still received $1.7 million in 2024. The top contributing federal agencies include the Agency for Global Media, which provided more than 76% of the AP's total federal funding, the Department of State, not a shock, and the Department of Education. We sometimes call it the Department of Bad Indoctrination, and it is unconstitutional. The Agency for Global Media trains hundreds of journalists, editors, broadcasters, and media managers. All right, to support freedom of information around the world to further, quote, democracy and freedom and democracy. So you got all this going out. Let's do Politico. Politico has received $34.3 million from the federal government since 2015. $34.3 million to drive their narrative. Remember, this is propaganda. This is to drive their narrative of what they want to say. Remember Politico and all they did. That was published by Liz Wheeler. Federal government spent more than $517,000 on Politico Pro subscription for 37 users. Elon Musk, who is heading up Trump's efforts with DOGE, said this wasteful expenditure will be deleted. So there's some examples. And some other top contributors include the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Education. And its top sub-agencies contributors include the Food and Drug Administration and the CDC. What's shocking about all of that? What did we see all through COVID? Those agencies having problems, right? Some of them. So we don't need to go through all of it. There's a lot of waste going on, right? So let's go on to the first clip.
We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass. Nobody told you could get all of our private information. Nobody told you could be in charge of the payments of this country. We have told you, you've made enough money off our government yourself. And now you want to take everybody else's payroll and make sure that they don't make the kind of money that you've made.
Elon Musk is a Nazi Nepo baby. Not one Democrat in America voted for Elon Musk.
Not one.
Not one Republican in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one independent in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one libertarian in America voted for Elon Musk. Damn, not one vegetarian in America voted for Elon Musk. And yet, Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. We are here to fight back.
We're going to tell Elon Musk, now listen to me, get your hands out my pockets. Say it with me. Get your hands out my pockets. Get your hands out my pockets.
So here you know the narrative. The narrative is going to be Elon Musk. Elon Musk shouldn't have this information. Donald Trump and Elon Musk both. Elon Musk went around the state of Pennsylvania and on X talking about DOGE. DOGE was very well known to the American public. This was a promise made and promise kept by Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Elon Musk went around Pennsylvania saying he was going to do this. Now Democrats are saying he's unelected, he's unelected. But they love their bureaucrats and don't want them fired. Bureaucrats are unelected. And again, this makes the constitutional argument, look, if you don't like these agencies and you don't like bureaucrats, return the power to the states, right, Kurt? Which, by the way, is the ratified proper constitution. Most of the powers were to remain for the states and the people, not in the federal government. So we don't want to go too much into the Constitution today. But the Uniparty and plenty of these are responsible for the spending. So it's not just Democrats, but these are the ones that you just saw in those clips complaining. And who are they attacking? They're making it about Elon Musk, but who's this about? This is about the American people and about transparency and about the truth. And here's why I believe, and I think many of you the same, there's a lot going on here. We're finding a lot of waste. Allegedly, it's money laundering, allegedly. And allegedly, there's a lot of corruption going on in the federal government. Needless to say, and we'll get into this in a second, by the way, on and offhand, has this not just been glorious to see an American president do exactly what he said? This has been one of the greatest weeks in American history. And Elon Musk taking his time off, going up there to work for you, doing exactly what he said. I mean, these guys are heroes and working for you. So the American people voted for Donald Trump and he won the election. And now he's doing what he says. And Elon Musk is doing what he said he would do. And these particular people are upset. The establishment, probably the Uniparty too behind the doors. But definitely these Democrats that got on the steps here are upset. We know what problems the government had during COVID. And COVID put what? Many of us were already disbelieving, but more and more people came over during COVID. Why? Because of the lies. The media lies. It was massive. The shutting down of voices to be heard. What you could see, hear, and read. What you could talk about. They shut you down. So the government and the media, they just don't have trust of a lot of American people anymore. So number one, Trump and Musk both campaigned on it. 2, Congress failed, and this money should have never been spent. A, they're operating in unconstitutional areas, but B, they're spending way past their budget. We're in deficits and debt, and we'll get to that. But they failed. And now we want to see, you need to see, you deserve to see where every penny went, line by line, and where the money went. And they are resisting that. The Uniparty, the Democrats, they are resisting that. There are 3 branches of government. What are they? What are the 3 branches of government? Legislative, executive, judicial. And what was supposed to be the weakest branch? The judges. I don't know if we'll get to that today, but a judge has already been contentious with this. But we ratified a very limited government. And this is from American Thinker. These stats. Government spending rose from $715 million in 1913 to $5.1 billion in 1921. $715 million to $5.1 billion in 1921. Expansive government has been pushed on Americans with these things like the New Deal, the Great Society, we've talked about it, the Green New Deal. In 1900, there were 6 government agencies, according to American Thinker. Today, how many do we have now? It's vast. In 2024, the federal government spent, get this, $6.75 trillion with a deficit of $1.83 trillion. The cost to finance the country's debt, which exceeds $36 trillion, is the 3rd largest outlay of the budget behind Social Security and health care. And that would be another whole discussion. What are we going to do with? You've promised it to people, so you got to keep it for them now, but we've got to get out of that. And the government was acting unconstitutionally when they got into health care. And we got to get out of it. We got to get the federal government out of health care, but you got to continue to give it to the people you promised to. So this article is, of course, we've said this many times. You, the American people, cannot afford this spending. You can't afford this debt, this deficit. You can't afford the size and scope of government, the American Thinker said. Regulations this is from the American Thinker, cost Americans between $2 and $3 trillion annually. Now, we know that's a hidden tax on you. Where do you face it? You face it at the kitchen table. And it's everywhere, right? Dave Harrington has a wine company, great wine, right, by the way, Dave Harrington. And he pays the price of these regulations. Let's go on to the next clip. Bernie Sanders attacking Elon Musk, their modus operandi, and obviously their strategy. And watch what Bernie Sanders does. All he does is attack Elon Musk.
Now, what Musk is trying to do right now is to destroy USAID, a program which helps hungry and sick children all over the world, the poorest people in the world. That's what the richest guy in the world is doing. Today, he's going after USAID. Trust me, tomorrow, he will be going after the programs that impact you and your family.
So watch, all Bernie Sanders does is attack Elon Musk, and it's ludicrous, right? I mean, Elon Musk is loaded with money he doesn't need anymore. He's up there sleeping either on the floor or cot. I've read both reports. Some say cot, some say the floor. I saw a picture of him on the floor. But he's up there working very hard. He's a billionaire. He didn't have to do this. And Bernie Sanders, who's worked in the government his entire life and on your dollar, again, working for the government, how many houses does he have, is attacking Elon Musk. But he's not defending the ideas. Where did all this money go? Why don't you want to allow the Americans to see it? Why do you not want transparency? That begs the question, how much corruption is going on in the government? And some people have said, allegedly, that it's a money laundering operation going on in the government. Look, when you've spent this many trillions of dollars, something bad's going on for you Americans. And who does it hit at the kitchen table? You. It costs you. It costs people their American dreams, because you can't save a lot of money when inflation's going on because of government spending. And notice they don't defend these ideologies or the spending for them. DEI programs all over the world, controlling news and the narrative. They're not making the argument, oh, this was great. We should have been controlling the narrative. We should have been asserting what people should hear and read. They're making the Elon Musk bad. It's their Saul Alinsky tactic to attack and make him the bad guy versus actually defending your ideology, which is Marxist principles, communist principles. We're going to election interference in the world, right? You're trying to control the narratives. In other words, listen to Viktor Orban. So all of this is going on, but they're not making an argument and about ideas. They're just attacking a person. That's their trick. So you can't make up this stuff. This AOC clip is great. It's fantastic. You can't make it up. Her talking about Elon being not so bright. Go.
In my experience, I have encountered many billionaires. I can tell you that this dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
So you saw AOC. Look at Elon Musk. Don't look at what we've been doing for years and years in Congress and how we've been spinning the uniparty, both Republicans and Democrats. Republicans had control of that Congress. And what do they have in Article 1? Power of the purse. Let's look at it constitutionally. Congress could stop this spending, and that's what really needs to happen. And by the way, Congress needs to pass laws to make sure this never happens again. It can't just be Elon and Trump. You got to have Congress come behind them and then pass these laws so that it doesn't happen next time. We need to restrain the federal government and say, hey, you're in an unconstitutional area. So write that out and say, you're in an unconstitutional area. I hope it happens. Let's all hope it happens, because they need to fine the federal government and their powers, Kurt, right? You need to find it and send all the powers back to the states. If you don't like big government and you don't like these agencies and you don't like unelected bureaucrats, send the power back to the states, right? So it's sleight of hand. A magician, like a magician, get you to look over here, or get you to look over at Elon Musk while we've been doing this crazy reckless spending into DAI and woke ideologies and all these Marxist programs. In addition to that, just spending money crazily, by the way, going into $36 trillion of debt. So the real issue is how and why and where did all this money go? How did you get in $36 trillion of debt? How did you fail that badly? Or worse, and we believe it. Obviously, a bunch of this was planned. It's by design. We know it is from the writings we've read of Saul Alinsky and others. We know it was planned by some factions to do this. It wasn't just a mistake. So, what needs to happen? We need to decrease the federal budget massively and get them out of unconstitutional areas, and that includes all three constitutional branches: the executive, the judicial, and the legislative. All of them need to be restrained. They've all gone beyond their enumerated powers. So they tried to put it on these guys, these kids, and they did something on social media. They made a bad post or something. Come on. You guys spent trillions of dollars, sent our money all over the world. You're trying to control the narrative by paying off news sources, and you're worried about a social media comment that this kid made? He's trying to clean up the mess that you guys have created over time. 36 trillion total of all the Congresses, right? And you're trying to blame him, sleight of hand magician. Because the real problem's over here, and we're going to fix it. And you know what Americans need to see? We need a line by line reading, and that judge is trying to block it. You see the establishment coming out here, and we'll do another thing on the judges because they've gone way past their power. But I got to look at that case. But they've gone way past their power, and Tom Cotton had a tweet on it. But listen, let's fix the problems. Not focus on these guys, but focus on where the problems came from and who was trying to control the narrative and who spent trillions. These guys, bureaucrats and politicians. Congress is to blame, both Republicans and Democrats. They ran the price of your groceries up. Thank you.